Feeling election anxiety? Here is how LGBTQ voters can cope. As the 2024 election approaches, younger LGBTQ voters are facing heightened anxiety due to targeted legislation, hate speech, and economic uncertainty. Reports show that this election season has exacerbated mental health concerns within the LGBTQ community, leading to a significant uptick in reported anxiety levels. Though not an official diagnosis, election stress disorder reflects the real emotional toll experienced during this politically charged time. A recent GLAAD poll shows that an impressive 94% of LGBTQ-registered voters plan to vote this November. However, this eagerness is accompanied by emotional burdens. 72% report negative impacts on their mental health due to the current political climate. Gallup statistics reveal an even more alarming trends among queer Gen Z adults, with 71% experiencing significant anxiety compared to 52% of their straight peers. According to Elizabeth Douglas, a Minnesota-based therapist, queer voters can adopt several strategies to cope with anxiety. They can engage in advocacy, build supportive communities, practice digital hygiene, and participate in therapy. Limiting news consumption can also mitigate anxiety. Experts' top recommendation is to talk about it. Mental health experts say that talking about your anxiety with friends and family is therapy for fear and the unknown. I watched last night, MSNBC did a really great panel of actually Rutgers students, my alma mater, with Stephanie Ruhle. One of the panelists, I'm going to say I didn't see the beginning, so I believe they may have identified as LGBTQ in the panel. And she asked this question and said, if you could say one thing to Donald Trump, what would you say? And the again, gender, I believe she was a she, said, I wish he could see that I'm a human and I exist, and like visibly, came into tears. So I really feel like we don't really know how much the things that are being said on TV, whether it's about Haitian migrants or immigrants or LGBTQ or trans people, I don't think we even know the implications long term of what it's going to do to our community. It was really sad to see someone who was like on a panel on a major news network to literally, and I thought the comments were going to be like, I would tell him, I thought they were going to be, they were so well thought, but this young person's words were really, really poignant.
That would be the same age group that I would be concerned about. I have family members that were teenagers during COVID who did not get to do a high school graduation, and they didn't get to do this and that, and they've lived through Trump being president once already. And, we also happen to have raised that generation. The millennials have raised them to be very in touch with their feelings
Right.
and be very authentic and vulnerable about it. And then when they're up against something that tough, they really feel it and don't deny how they're feeling, obviously, because of the story. We know that 20 years ago or 30 years ago, we wouldn't have had the freedom to express, this is how we're feeling about all this. And that's why we had higher suicide rates back then too in our community.
Absolutely.
So I feel for them, and I know that those are some things between Trump and COVID and now this newest election cycle that they are really, I'm glad that they're expressing it and that they're at least finally free to do that, but they're really being affected by it, the young people.
As someone who suffers from anxiety all the time, I just have general anxiety disorder. I can elaborate on a couple of things that they were talking about. So, for example, do not doom scroll. Do not engage with right-wing media. Do not watch Fox News. Not saying that you should not know what they are trying to say, but read it secondhand through a friendly outlet like New York Times, Politico, or even CNN. Now, the other thing is, cleanse your social media.
Yeah.
If you have like a toxic uncle or aunt who's going to be always MAGA, or your grandparents that are always MAGA, block them. You're not obligated to interact with them on social media. That's go for the same with TikTok. Shut down all those MAGA TikTok things. Just unfollow and follow and follow. Do not doom scroll. That will give you a valve.
I agree.
A way out of this anxiety cycle.
I hear you. Like with TikTok, I at one point was getting these really, bizarre political thing that I just keep saying not interested in order to get back to slightly. But like the other thing that I look at all this of like where people are feeling anxiety toward the election, and part of it is everything we've just said, but there's like this weird split where I think about it. On the one hand, there's a lot to actually be really anxious about. One of the two candidates is saying he's going to like round people up, and one of his advisors, Michael Flynn, won't say it's wrong to execute your political opponent. So, like, I'm sorry, that is a little anxiety-inducing. So, like, but at the same time, whether not just the right-wing media, CNN, the Democratic Party, we've all ratcheted up this concept that every election is a crisis. And, this election might actually be a crisis, except we've been saying it for the entire 21st century. And I think that a lot of people have been overwhelmed by that. I think a lot of young people have been told their whole life that, like, every election is going to destroy their life. And I'm like, I don't think that's healthy for a democracy. And, I don't know how we're able to make our society better with the way that we've been going with all of this.
But the thing,
don't get me wrong, Trump's side is definitely the bigger problem, but that doesn't mean the rest of us haven't been complicit in some way.
Good.
The thing is, though, if you really think about it, 2001, there was 9/11. 2004, it was the Iraq War. 2008 was the Great Recession. The 2012 is the only one that's really relatively normal year.
And they only had binders full of women in 2012.
Yeah, it was the worst.
Remember when that was terrible? Remember when that was terrible?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just say anxiety or no anxiety. If you are of the age, please vote. Do not let what you are watching, listening to, scare you into not voting. This is an essential election. So anxiety, suit up, honey. Take half a Xanax and get to the damn poll. All right? That's what I'm going to say.
You can mail your ballot.
Yeah, right from your home.
No interaction.
Right from your home. No interaction.
I mailed my ballot today, actually.
We need all the numbers we can get.